JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 22nd of June 2022, so yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a view the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So yep, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFDbrokers.com website, which you can, I believe, find it useful, especially if you click on market news and analysis here, and yeah, this page gets updated on a daily basis, so check us out here. And yeah, like I said, I believe you can find something useful here. So, jumping into the charts, guys, the first one, as always, I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. So we pushed above this barrier, above that 26,321 territory, but we failed to stay above it. So yeah, we did move higher, but as you can see here, we drifted back down. We found support near this 26,150 territory. Still, if you're looking for some upside, I would like to see the index remaining above this hurdle, above this 26,321 territory, somewhere around there. And if you're looking for some downside, then yes, of course, a drop and excuse me, and the index staying below that highlighted territory here, which is between the 25,688 and the 25,775 levels. If we stay below it somewhere here, then yes, I will get a little bit more excited with further declines. Jumping into Shanghai Composite, so we are testing now this upside line taken from the low, the 27th of April. I kept on mentioning this before. So yep, I said that as long as we stay above this upside line, there is still potential for this one to move higher. However, I would prefer to wait for a push above that 3,356 territory right here in order to get a little bit more excited with the upside. With the downside, as I mentioned before as well, the same game plan remains. A drop below that 3,262.63 territory is required. The German index, DAX, so yeah, this one has moved a little bit to the downside, but still managed to remain in positive territory yesterday. However, today the cash index is drifting back down, and however, we're still above the, let me just double check that very quickly actually. Yeah, okay, so that's interesting. Yes, we did move higher yesterday, but we're actually now back below this area, this highlighted territory, this area between the 13,150 and the 200 levels. So we are, yeah, this is quite interesting and, to be honest, quite bearish. One thing that probably has to be done here, I think that, let me just grab this line. And oh, by the way, if you remember yesterday, I said that if we somehow stay below that, or actually, if we climb and stay above the 13,358 territory, then yes, I'll get a little more excited with the upside. We only got a false breakout, and yeah, we drifted back below this hurdle, so it didn't really, play out nicely for the buyers. Now, of course, everybody's focused on the sellers, and let's see if they can, they can drive this one further south. Initially, we'll be targeting the current lowest point of June near the 13,008. zone right there, or in a way we could just round it up towards that, you know, psychological 13,000 mark. A nice good drop below it would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, more sellers could join in. But as I said in the beginning, that at the moment we are trading below on the cash index, we're trading below this highlighted territory. So this this increases the chances for a further move south. Nasdaq 100. So Nasdaq is, yeah, it did get a nice push higher yesterday. It managed to travel all the way here towards that 11,600 territory, even above that. But we still remain below this highlighted zone here, that one that I talked about previously. So currently the cash index is drifting to the downside a little bit. We're currently sitting at around 11,400 zone. So yep, we are below yesterday's close, but still above this this little barrier here, this inside swing high of the 11,000 which is at 11,358 territory. And if we fall back below it, then yeah, we could maybe aim for lower levels, but still the preferred option here for the downside is somewhere from around here, from the current lowest point of June, which was around the 11,037 mark. A nice good drop below it, yep, may open the door towards further downside. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now also a beautiful move here to the upside. We found a very nice resistance here near the lowest point of May, and near that 30,635 territory. The cash index right now, let me just double check that very quickly. The cash index is actually drifting back down right now as well, of course. So yeah, we are currently sitting at around 30,222 levels, so somewhere around kind of here. Actually near, let me just grab a line. We're sitting near this inside swing high here of the 17th of June. So if you're looking for some lower levels, maybe a drop below that 30,167 territory would be required. However, to get a little bit more excited with further declines, well, a drop below the current lowest point of June at 29,653 territory would be required. This way, the index would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, we could see a further drift south. Overall, yeah, I need to redraw this downside line. Overall, we're still below this downside line taken from the high of the 21st of April. Don't get me wrong, it's a bit of a tentative one, but hey, at the moment I'm going to keep an eye on it. Yeah, if you're, like I said, if you're looking for some upside on this one, well, this is where a few adjustments have to be made, I think. I think somewhere, if we get a push somewhere above this barrier, this high of the 15th of June near the 31,000 mark here, if we climb back above it, this may lead to a larger correction to the upside here towards that downside resistance line. So yep, keep an eye on that one. DXY, another index, but this one's a dollar index, and look at this one. We've broken the triangle pattern here. I mean, we've climbed above this downside line, and we are now pushing, or at least trying to make our way back to that 105 zone. So can we get a nice push above that 105 territory? Well, again, it's a bit of a waiting game in that at this point. Yes, and on one hand, everything's kind of pointing a little bit more towards the upside right now. However, I would prefer to wait for a push above that 105 zone right there, yep, then we could go a little bit higher. For the downside, this is where I think I will just adjust this. Of course, a break of this upside line is required, but also maybe a drop below this 104 territory, or 103.94 level right there. That's the low of yesterday. And as we drop below it, may lead to maybe a further decline, or not a further, but for a bit of a move lower in the near term. So gold is drifting to the downside, guys, and look at this. So this is this is not something that I mentioned yesterday, but I was just really trying to figure out if this is gonna work out as a potential falling wedge pattern. However, yep, we can ignore all that. And let me just clear up the chart here a little bit. Like I said, this is me trying to kind of see something which maybe is not there. But anyway, so. In terms of the downside, guys. Now, yesterday, if you remember, I talked about that 1831 territory. I said that if we drop below it, then yes, there is a chance for a further move south, and where I'm going to aim for that 1807 territory. Well, this is currently what I am aiming for. Ignore the arrow. I mean, yes, I mean my arrow is here all the way towards a further level here below that 1807 zone, but at the moment I'm just aiming for that 1807, but only as long as it stays below this little short-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 17th of June. If we continue to trade below it, then yes, I will go excuse me, I will go lower. Let me adjust a few levels here. I think I'm going to mark this one right there. But for the upside, now of course a break of this downside line is required, and if we do get something like that, then yes, we will go for this downside line, and yep. And then we'll actually take it from there, to be honest, because at the moment, like I said, we're leaning a little bit more towards the downside, and also looking at the dollar, US dollar, that it's trying to make its way higher. Then yeah, all that is also kind of playing out nicely here for the gold sellers. So, long story short, that's the game plan, guys. I mean, let's see if this is going to work out. But like I said, I'm going to continue aiming lower as long as we remain below this short-term downside resistance line. Now, the most interesting, oil. Okay, so oil is drifting to the downside. So we broke this upside line taken from the low of the 2nd of December, and yep, we are now approaching this 100-day EMA shown as the green line here. And if you're looking for some further declines, guys, well, at the moment I would say let's be very careful, because first of all, the idea that I've mentioned before was that if we drop below this 108 territory, 108.16 territory, and yep, we would also drop below this upside line, and my next target would be this 105 territory right there near this 100-day EMA, which we managed to reach perfectly. Of course, my arrow here is drawn further south. I would say if we do drop below this current support zone, this 105 and this 100 EMA, 100-day EMA, if we drop and stay below it, I will continue targeting the downside, guys. Initially, of course, I'll aim for that 98.23 zone, and then we'll go maybe even lower. If you're looking for some upside, to be honest, yeah, if we climb back above that upside line, now that's where, yeah, it could become a little bit more interesting, I would say. But still probably I would prefer to wait maybe for a push above that 114.79 territory, the highest point of 2011. So yeah, just to kind of be a little bit more on the safe side. So yeah, guys, at the moment, like I said, that's the game plan. Let's see how this is going to play out, but it's not really looking good for the buyers unless we at least push back above this upside line. We can see in the chat room there, Evu, yep, good morning to you too. Yep, good morning, and good morning to everybody else who's joining in. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Wednesday. Guys, Ethereum, as with other cryptos, as the other cryptos, of course, as well, still continues to trade below some of the some of the trend lines, and in this particular case here we have a short-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 5th of May, and we also have a downside line here taken from the high of the 3rd of April, which yeah, could also play out later on. But at the moment, yes, we had a nice rebound from that 880 zone, and I think, to be honest, if you're looking for some lower levels at this point, it's the easier option is to wait for a drop below this hurdle, this 880 zone. This would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could target then maybe the 700 zone, or even lower levels. For the upside, I would like to see a break of this downside line taken from the high of the 5th of May, because at the same time we would climb above the 21-day EMA, and potentially more buyers could join in. All this area here for me, I will just observe it, and this is not really something that I really like. Gbp Cad, guys. I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but yeah, it's quite interesting, I would say, because after this sharp move here to the upside, you can see that we've retraced quite a lot, and let's say if we just measure it with the Fibonacci levels, then you'll see that we have already retraced the 61.8. Maybe we're going towards that 78.6%. But again, at the moment, what I'm going to keep an eye on here is this inside swing high of the 14th of June near the 0.8973 level. So if we somehow manage to rebound, let's say come back, first of all, come back above it, and then stay above it, then yeah, we could see a nice rebound and maybe a push back to the upside. However, you can see here, I think that this level needs to be adjusted, and we need to mark this current lowest point of June near the 0.8884 zone. So if we get a nice good drop below this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yes, further declines could be possible. In terms of, like I said, in terms of the upside, that's the idea that I've mentioned already. I would like to see this pair coming back above the 0.8973 territory and staying above it, and then yeah, we could see maybe a bit of a rebound. Now, talk about a move, like if you remember, guys, I kept on talking about, from Monday even, I was talking about this pair, a USD JPY, and look at this. I mean, we were waiting for that pop above the 135.58 level. So yep, we got that, we stayed above it. So, and then yeah, we pushed further north. So what's next? For that, I would need to, I think, jump into a bit of a monthly chart. I think, let me just quickly do that. So so we managed to clear some of the levels, and yep, now it's quite interesting that the next target could be this highest point of August of 1998, guys. 147.65 zone territory. So of course, don't get me wrong, at some point this will have to correct lower, but at the moment it's not the case. I mean, at the moment it's just a steep rally here. We had such movements here in the history, for example, back in 2016, October, November. Then we had like October, November, or actually starting off already from August 2014, and also starting off from October 2012 here for a few months here. We had these strong rallies, and of course eventually this does correct lower, but at the moment, guys, it's just one-way traffic, so be careful with those shorts. And if you're looking for some upside, well, at the moment I think that it kind of supports this idea, and especially for example in the near term, if we stay above this 135.58 territory, if we continue to trade above it, then yes, I'm going to continue aiming north. If we fall back below this, that's where maybe we could maybe consider a bit of a move to the downside. However, this area here could be a bit of a tricky one, I would say. So, but nevertheless, yeah, maybe we could see consider. Depends on how the XY is going to trade as well. So a lot of factors we would need to take in. But at the moment, I would say, yeah, as long as we remain above the 135.58 territory, I'll continue aiming higher. USD so this one's quite interesting as well because yep, it continued to be a tease for everybody. So for the especially for the bulls because and for the sellers because for everybody I think because look, I mean what I talked about previously was that I said that if we drop and below this upside line and stay below this, then yes, we could go lower, but I need to see that drop below that 0.9620 territory, and this is exactly why we did get a break of this upside line, but we only got those false breakouts, and look at this, we reversed back to the upside, and yep, currently trading again above this upside line. But for the upside, actually, as I mentioned before, I would like to see maybe a push somewhere back above the 0.9764 territory right there, and then yeah, we could go for the upside. Gbp Cad, as I talked about this one briefly yesterday, and just wanted to kind of point this out so that you would keep an eye on it, because again, maybe, just maybe, we are forming a possible bullish flag here. You can see our nice pole here, and yep, for the past few days we have been drifting lower, but not significantly, and we're currently getting hold up near that 21-day EMA. Now, of course, everything's kind of really, I would say, leaning a little bit more towards the upside. The only thing is that, as I said before, in order to get comfortable with that idea, I would actually prefer to wait for a push above the 1.60 territory right there. If we get that, then yes, I'll go for the upside, because look, I mean, another thing that's really in the way here is, I think it's not, if I'm not mistaken, there we go, that's the one. So this downside line, this one's taken from the high of the 14th of April, so it's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit in the way, so you could start already, let's say, considering the upside if we break this downside line, but just like I said, a bit more confirmation could come on a break of this 1.60 territory right there. So yep, keep your eyes on that one. For the downside, I would actually prefer to wait for a drop below the 1.5729 territory right there, and then yep, we could go maybe lower a little bit towards that current lowest point of June near the 1.5485 level. GBP USD, guys, so this one's drifting a little bit to the downside, of course, understandable, because we do have DXY at least trying to climb higher. So let's see how this is going to work out today, but to be honest, we are on GBP USD, we are in this area where I'm not really comfortable with anything right now, because for me, for the upside, I would need to see a break above this 1.2472 territory. For the downside, I would like to see a drop below the 1.2162 territory. 1.2162 territory for the downside, 1.2472 territory for the upside. So yeah, anything in here, I'm just observing the price action. Euro GPY, so we have approached some key interesting areas. Let me first of all just this chart. Let me just bear with me one moment, guys. I think I will have to redraw some of these lines. So yeah, this did kind of worked out and kind of not, but hey, this has to come in here. This is the inside swing low of the 16th of December 2014. But the first thing I have to mark here is this level up, not this one, but this one right here, the current highest point of June near the 144.25. Yesterday we came very close to that area, but failed to test it. My question here is, can we actually overcome it? Can we overshoot it? Well, I mean, everything's looking quite interesting, I would say, because if you remember, I talked about this pair in the beginning of this week. I said that if we climb somewhere above this inside swing high here of the 141.49, somewhere around there, then yes, this could open the door towards some higher levels. But now, because we have already kind of reached, we have reached this highest point of June, the current highest point of June, I would actually prefer to, if I'm aiming higher, I would actually prefer to wait for a push above that barrier first. Here, I will just, like I said, continue observing this, but it could present itself with a nice opportunity, but let's see how all this is going to play out. For the downside, well, actually, for the downside, I would wait for a break of this upside line, taken from the low the 12th of May, and then we'll consider maybe a bit of a move to the downside. Um, Euro NZD. This one's a little bit more interesting, I would say, because look, I mean, we have rebounded from this upside line. I kept on talking about this one even last week, and yeah, there we go. So we are climbing higher. We're again approaching this 168.42 territory. If we clear that level, then yes, I'll go for the upside. At the moment, I'm cautiously bullish. I'm just observing the price action, but if we clear and stay above this 1.6842 territory, I will aim higher. And my next target, of course, ideally, it could be this one, the highest point of February. But of course, on the way higher, we still have some obstacles here. For example, near the 1.7022 area, or we have this one right there, the 1.7166 zone marked by the high of the 11th of February. But like I said, we'll get to that point. If we do push above this 1.6842 territory. And finally, Euro USD 1.05, that's where we are sitting at right now. Again, it's the same idea here, the same analysis remains. I need to see a clear breakthrough one of those levels, as you can see on my chart from where the arrows are drawn. So until then, I mean, I think you're tired of me already talking about the same thing here on Euro USD. But hey, that's that's part of the deal right now. So I mean, with the market, sometimes you need to kind of play the waiting game. So I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. But basically, for me to consider the upside, I would like to see a push above this 1.0636 territory. For the downside, I would like to see a drop below the 1.0460 in order to go lower, a little bit lower. So that's it for this session, guys. I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Thank you very much for your views, your likes, your comments, guys. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. So yeah, thank you. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe. Have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.